Hello, good morning. Welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Lauren, and today I'm here by myself as Ian's out in the real world showing some moves to some people. So we'll hear back from him later, but for now, we're going to get started in our Restore and Recharge class. We're going to start seated, so grab yourself a chair. It'd probably be better if it didn't have wheels on the bottom of it, but use your discretion. From our seated position, we'll sit up nice and tall. Feet are flat on the floor. We're thinking about those femurs going in back behind us. So we're sitting in this tall, nice position versus being slouchy or dumpy into that low back. So from that tall position with your feet flat on the floor, let's start with our head neck. Lightly retract your shoulder blades and add a rotation, looking over one shoulder. As you come back through center, we're trying to keep that chin nice and level on the same horizon here. One more time each side. Only moving that head as we do this and growing to out tall the top, rotating on that spine. Now, let's reach our head face forward into that chicken turkey neck, and then lightly nose goes straight back. Oh yeah, the double chin. Repeat again. Head forward, reaching out long, and then light chin tuck. From that chin tuck position, try to keep the neck straight, but add a slight ear towards shoulder. It might feel a little bit like a bobblehead as you do this. So the head is moving on top of your neck. Last one on each side. Pulling back to center. And then returning to tall. And just let that relax. From here, we'll get to some ankles and some hips. Let's extend both legs out straight. Then we'll bring a single leg in, bending at the knee, flexing at the hip. We'll rotate that leg to meet the bottom leg. And then we'll drag the bottom leg in, and we'll end up in our figure four. Let's cross the leg a little bit over more than normal so that ankle bone's hanging off the edge, and place two hands on your shin. From here, we're going to point our foot, and we're going to draw two ankle circles in one direction. So let's reach down towards the floor. Pick a direction and start drawing your ankle circles. Could you keep your toes as if they're gripping a pencil underneath them the whole time? And what that'll do is just allow your toes from spreading and leading the movement, and instead lead that movement from the ankle joint. I'm finishing up this last half circle in the first direction, and then I'll go two circles the other way. If the circle had edges, you're trying to reach all the edges of the circle. I guess a circle does have edges, just doesn't have corners. Reaching all the way around. One last time on this ankle circle. My hands on my shin bone are keeping that nice and stationary again so that it's just coming from the ankle. From that pointed foot, gently bring it back to the flexed, and let's stack that foot on top of the thigh. So we're in our figure four here. From this figure four position, we're still sitting up nice and tall. We'll bring our knee towards our opposite shoulder, and then with its own power, gently press that knee towards the floor, feeling that hip open up a little bit. Repeat two more times. Knee coming across the body, and then gently pressing down. And as you press down, maybe you find you can grow a little taller. And one last time, knee coming across the body, and then pressing down, growing tall. Let's end with that knee coming towards the midline, then actively lift the foot off, unrotate, place down. Same thing on the other side. So we started with those straight legs, then bring the other leg into flexion, rotate, let it rest on your straight leg, and then drag that straight leg in. We'll adjust right away so the ankle's hanging off the leg, and grip onto the shin. Point that foot. Now, keep that pencil under the toes to keep the toes tight. And let's do two circles in each direction. I'm slowly reaching towards the floor first, but you pick your direction. And how does it feel on this side? Same as the other, easier, crunchier, reaching around. I finished one circle. Here I am going same direction, second time around. If you look at that ankle joint, it might help you to think that that's where the movement's coming from versus the toes or the knee. From that pointed foot, we'll switch the direction. So two the other way. Again, try to reach all the edges of the circle. The only thing that should be moving right now is that ankle. Everything else is stationary. Finishing up here through that last range. Then we'll bring that foot back to the shin and we'll stack so the heel is in line with that quad. From this figure 4 position, same as the other side. The knee will come towards across the body, bringing it across, and then gently press that leg knee towards the floor. Repeat again. Knee comes across the body and gently presses away. Feel that hip open up and grow tall. Last time, knee comes across the body and then presses away. As you bring it towards the midline, we'll unhook that foot, lift it, and place it down. We're going to do one more thing from seated, and then we'll get to standing. I'm on the edge of my chair, maybe because when I sit at the back, my feet don't touch. So keep your feet flat on the floor. And again, recheck in with your positioning. You're sitting up tall, those femurs are back. Cross your arms across your chest. We're going to add some rotation. Right now, let's do a head rotates one way, and then the upper body will follow. Now bring your head back to center and your shoulders back to center. Repeat the other way. Head goes first, then shoulders rotate. Then head back to center and shoulders back to center. One more time. Head, shoulders. Let's stay here. Take a little breath. Maybe you can find a little bit more room in that rotation. Then bring your head back and your shoulders back. And one last time. Head rotates, shoulders rotate. Add a little bit more rotation once you're over there. And then bring your head back and your shoulders back to center. Now let's do a little bit of a lateral flexion. So we'll grow up, not in the shoulders, but in the abs, and do a slight side bend here. Notice the difference between me reaching up first and over versus just out here. Let's go do the other side. So we lift up and then over, lifting that rib cage up and over, back to center. One more time each way. Little up and over. We're staying within our cylinder or within that chair and not dumping out. Woo, all the way over there like a little teapot. Last one. And then back to tall. One more exercise from the chair. You can stay seated, facing the same way. But from here, place your hands on your thighs, like chin tuck. We'll gently flex around the spine and then engage your abs. Keep your chin slightly tucked and think about driving that heart chest forward or extending that upper back spine. Whew, take a breath. And lightly round again. So flexing or rounding, keep those blades together, and then extend, pressing that heart, chest forward. Breathe, and then relax. Wonderful. Let's stand up. Don't get rid of your chair, just stand up. With our chair in front of us, we're going to go through our kneeling or our standing hip flexor action. So behind your chair, let's bend a single leg. Bring it up on the step and place it down. Think about those hips. We'll hike a hip up and then we'll pull it down. Now let's tuck that under the pelvis so we're scooping underneath, and then we'll tilt our tailbone towards the ceiling. Now keep the standing leg hip reaching back, but tuck under the other side. And what you may feel when you do that is that you actually drive down and pull that top leg in and drive that front or standing leg hip forward. So feel this kind of scissor action happening in the hips for 3, 2, and then relax but stay. Now let's change those forces. So now we're going to push down and forward with the standing leg and down and back with the back leg, but keep that back hip underneath you, so don't stick your butt out. Now change it back, pull it back into center. That back hip is pushing forward, the front hip pulling in for 3, 2. Now keep the tension in the standing leg and the tailbone long. Lightly lift the foot off the step. Keep it bent as it brushes back behind you and straighten it underneath. Give a little shake. Do the same thing on the other side. Knee bends, flexes at the hip, places down. With that light hip hike first, and then pull down. And then from here, we tucked our tailbone underneath first, so scooping under. And then we'll lightly tip our tailbone or anterior tip of the hips. Now we're going to keep that that bent leg reaching back and try to tuck under that standing leg hip. So you're squeezing the standing leg cheek. That leg is nice and straight. We're driving down in the top leg and pulling it in. So the forces are going back hip going forward, front hip pulling back for 3, 2. Now keep the tension and switch the force. Back hip pushing back, front leg pushing forward for 3, 2. One more time, bring it into center. 3, 2. Keep tall on that standing leg. Lift up the bent knee, brushing it back behind you and straightening underneath. Shake it out. From here, we'll do a little shoulder action and then we'll do one more move with that chair. For our shoulder, you're going to stagger your stance. So pick a foot, bring it forward, find a comfortable position for you on 2 feet. Let's take, I'm going to turn sideways for you. Let's take that back arm, or the same arm as the back leg, and extend it. Now, weights in between 2 feet here, standing tall, squeezing the cheeks, bracing the core. With this top arm, we're going to reach it forward without bending the elbow, so the blade wraps around the rib cage. Don't bend the elbow. Pull the blade back into retraction where you got it. Repeat again. Arm or blade reaches forward, sliding to protraction, and then retracts, pulling it back into retraction. Now, let's keep the blade there as we start to bend the elbow, rowing, pulling that arm into the side. Once it gets to the side at 90 degrees, lightly retract that shoulder a bit more. Now let's keep the blade there as we slowly try to straighten that arm. Try to keep the blade where it is on your back. Then one more time. Arm reaches forward, blade goes forward. Arm retracts, blade retracts. Then we'll start to bend and pull, juicing that orange in the armpit. Rowing. Lightly retract that blade for one more second, hold. Now I want you to straighten the elbow to your side, keeping the blade where it is. And then relax. Shake that out. Same thing on the other side. Switch legs, this is the hardest part. Put the other leg forward, the other leg back. Take that same arm as the back leg and extend it up in front of you. Are your shoulders square forward and your hips square forward? Let's reach the arm towards the, well, it's my wall, towards forward, wrapping that blade, and then retract the blade, pulling it back behind you. Repeat again. Blade reaches forward, blade retracts back. Now, let's hold it there. Start bending the elbow, pulling that arm towards your side, keeping the blade where it is. Once the arm's at our side, lightly retract a little bit more, hold it, and then slowly straighten that arm out. Keep the blade where it is. Don't let it come forward. And then blade reaches forward. Blade goes back. So stability in the shoulder blade. And then we'll move the arm to that row position. Lightly retract that blade a little bit more. Hold it here. Now gently straighten the elbow. Arm towards your side. Keep the blade where it is. And then relax, shaking that out. All right, one more stretch with our chair here. I'm also going to go this way. We'll stand in front of our chair. Bend a single leg, bringing it up on the step and straight. From here, we'll have that light foot pulled to the shin. And let's play with the hips again. So if we hike that top leg up and then pull it down. And then we'll tuck the hips under, scooping. And then we'll lightly reach the tailbone back. As you do that, you might notice your heel drags a little bit towards you. That's good. That's the leg compressing. Let's reach that leg back behind us. We have that slight anterior tip of the hips and try to keep that knee nice and straight. Now, with a nice long spine, we could add a hinge forward. You probably don't have to go very far to feel that length through the hamstring. Hold for a second and then press back up to tall. Now from tall, let's externally rotate that leg. So rotating the inseam towards the ceiling, the thigh, inner thigh pointed up, then back to center, and then that light internal rotation in, thigh rotating in. Repeat again, gently rotate open, making sure your ankle isn't doing more than the leg. Last one in, ooh, that's tough. Then come back to center, pull that foot to the shin one more time, drag it on the step, Tilt the hips back, light hinge forward, and then press, driving those hips underneath you, lifting the leg with control off the step, bending it back and straightening it out. Shake it out, repeat on the other side. Other leg bends, comes up and places on the step. We hiked that hip up and then we pulled it down. And then we scooped under and then we reached that tailbone long and away and we had that slight drag of the heel on the step. So with the leg reaching behind us, we'll do our first hinge. A hinge on our hips means those hips are pushing back and our spine is staying nice and long. None of this, oh, look how far I can reach. No, no, no. Stay tall. Then let's press back up to tall. From here, the whole leg rotates open and then back to center. Rotates in and back to center. One more time each way, making sure that ankle's not doing more than the leg. One last time in, then to center. We'll do one more hinge, so both hips reach back, stay square forward, light hinge, pulling the foot to the shin to amplify that stretch or that length. Pressing through to tall. We'll drag the foot off the step, bend it, extend it. Excellent. We can place this chair off to the side, give yourself a little bit of room. And we're gonna work today from narrow to wide squats mixed with some core exercises. So let's start nice and narrow with our feet underneath us. We're gonna press our knees towards over toes. And as we do that, we stay tall, so shoulders stacked on top of hips. Now as we extend, think about pressing those hips forward and squeezing the cheeks. Repeat again, knees towards over toes. And then press to tall. This time, could you find a light rise? Find a balance hold, then control the down. Knees over toes. This time, find a light balance off of the heels, staying the same height. Then find the heels and press to tall. Let's add on again. Knees towards over toes. Stay the same height as you roll up to the demi points or balls of feet. Then press to tall. Control the down. And last from narrow, we'll go up. Knees towards over toes. Heels connect. Press those hips forward and grow. And then shake it out. What I should have said is you could have that chair off to the side as a little bit of a balance aid as we go through some of these balance squats. Now, we're gonna come to the floor and work on some core in our bear hold first. Let's do our first forward fold today. So tall, reaching the chin towards the sky, and then lightly tucking the chin into the chest, and slowly flexing on the spine and rolling forward. As you roll forward, try to keep those hips stacked over top of the heels, rolling yourself down, staying tight to the body. Once you're down here, take a second, maybe bend and then straighten those legs. And then we'll walk ourselves out into the all fours position. Place your knees down for now and your hands on the floor. We'll do a quick rest warm up just while we're here. So with those shoulders, let's shrug them into your ears, I don't know, and then pull them down. Gripping the floor with all 10 fingers, rotate your elbow pits or your blood donations forward. Now keep that nice firm grip, keep your shoulders packed and rotate those donations backwards. Then rotate them forward. And one more time, rotating them backwards and then forwards. Now keep them there with your elbows very straight. Push your thumbs into the floor, then your index into the floor, then your middle, then ring, then baby. Push them all into the floor, then flick and press the floor away, shaking that out. We're going to come back down into that bear position and work on our hover. I was talking to somebody yesterday as we were doing a lot of work on our hands, and they were saying their wrist was getting sore, and that definitely might happen. But as we do and go ahead with some of these holds, you're not just putting your weight straight down into this bent or broken part. Think about using your whole hand as you would your whole foot. Your ankle takes a lot of that, but so do your toes and the balls of your feet and your heel. So think of that same thing as you do this with your hand. Your heel or your palm is connected. Your callus line knuckles, your fingers, your thumb. They all share that load versus just that 90-degree bend in the wrist. Pack your shoulders, tuck your toes, grip the floor. Now, let's, without leaving the floor, pull, and without moving, our hands towards our knees. Just pull your hands towards your knees for 3, 2, whew, and then relax. Now, if you like to add on, let's do that same motion, but from a hover position. So knees will come 1 or 2 inches off the floor. Now pull the floor together underneath you without tucking or rounding. Feel that core brace, feel that tension. If I came through and tried to push you over, you wouldn't move. You're also still breathing for 4, 3, 2. Now let's push forward and back, keeping the tailbone long as we lift the hips up. Walk your hands back towards your feet into your forward fold position. Engage your core on the front and the back of your spine as you slowly stack yourself up. Head is last to arrive. Whew. Take a second. All right, we'll step our squats a little bit wider. Oh, thank you. I'm so calming. That's what I hear a lot about me. All right, we're gonna step our feet into our first position. So just slightly turned out. If you'd like to have that balance aid off to the side, please go ahead. We'll feel the pull together of the straight legs, and then the push down and away. And then pull together again, knees towards over toes. Again, we're sliding between those 2 panes of glass. Now drive down and extend. Pull together again. Try to stay the same height as we did on that parallel squat, and could you find a light balance? And then the heels will reconnect, and we'll press to tall. From this press, find a balance up here. Woo, and hold. Squeezing the glutes, bracing the core, keeping the knees straight and down. We'll add on. Pull yourself down. Heels will leave the floor. Press into the floor, drive to tall, and then control the descent. And one last time, we go up first, then our knees go towards over our toes, our heels will connect, and we'll drive to tall. Hips extend, core brace, and then shake it out. We're coming back down into the floor to another bear. This time, let's get down via the hinge. Chop those hips back, nice long spine. Vertical shins for now, and just feel that load. So again, referencing those feet, the toes are gripping, the balls of feet, the heels are down, loaded up through the hamstrings. And then we'll break some rules, we'll tip forward, hands will find the floors. Knees underneath us. All right, last time we pulled like we were on railroad tracks. This time we're gonna pull in our X pattern. So without leaving the floor right now, and without moving, pull your right hand to your left hip for 3, 2, then pull your left hand to your right hip for 3, 2, then pull both hands to opposite hips, creating that X pattern for 3, 2, and then lightly relax. You can either stay and do that from the floor again, or we're gonna hover our knees. 3, 2, we're up. Now right hand to left hip, 3, 2, then left hand to right hip, 3, 2, then cross on both of them. Hand to opposite hip for 3, 2, tilt the tailbone to the ceiling, press the floor forward as you lift your hips up. Try to keep that tailbone long as you drive your heels to the floor, walking your hands back. And again, we'll come back up via that fold or that stack. I guess we came down as a hinge, so if you hinge, that was also great. All right, squat number 3 version. We're gonna get slightly wider. So let's start with our feet in parallel, turn out to that first position, and then point beside you. Only go within your cylinder. Your cylinder is just as far as you can reach without tipping over. So toes, ball, heel comes down. Now again, on straight legs first, let's just pull the floor together. Feel those adductors, feel the glutes. Now push down and away, extending to tall. Pull back to center. This time, pull and press yourself. Let's get stacked here. So as I'm getting stacked and getting tall, I'm finding a balance over my straight single leg. And I like to think of this leg running right underneath me to grow up tall. Try not to be the leaning tower. Then toe, ball, heel, pull, and then press. And again, stack yourself up nice and tall. Holding, feel that bottom glute work as you stay here. Toe ball heel one more time on a straight leg. Press away. Find that stacked position. Feet gripping the floor. Hips pointing forward. The leg is lifting from the cheek, not that low back. Toe, ball, heel. Press over. Get stacked, growing up. Holding. 3, 2, we'll land and we'll come to center here. So now from center, pull so much in that your knees start to bend. Stay stacked. This time we'll press a leg away, knee towards over a toe. As we do this drill, let's try to again stay the same height. Can we point the foot and lift it off the floor, finding a bent knee balance? Again, stay tall. Toe, ball, heel, pull on the straight leg and then press away. Point that way, a leg nice and long, hips are forward, glute engaged. Toe, ball, heel, pull across, and then press away. One more time each side here. Hips are nice and extended. Toe, ball, heel, land. Pulling across, pushing away. Pointing, holding, then gently come back to center. Press down into the floor, growing up nice and tall. Whew, take a second out of that. We're going to come down to the floor this time and do some planks from our sideline position. So, let's get to the floor. We hinged last time. We'll go back to our fold. The chin tuck, the rolling ourselves down, staying tight to the body, breathing. Come on down. We'll come all the way to the floor and end up on our side. So with your elbow under your shoulder, your knees bent, and your knees in line with those hips. Make sure that bottom shoulder is nice and packed. Packed looks like this. Be droopy, hanging out on the beach, shrug that shoulder. Push the floor away. Take that top arm. Touch your bottom side ribs and obliques. Now, without your hips leaving the floor, just pull your ribs away from the floor, engaging those obliques. Now keep pulling yourself away from the floor and maybe the hips will lift. Extend them forward. Hips are pulling away from the floor. You have that sky hook driving you up to the ceiling. You're breathing, feeling that bottom side working for 3. Glutes are squeezed. 2. And then control the landing. Hip comes down first and then relax that upper body. Pressing the floor away. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Get yourself organized, knees bent in line with hips, elbows stacked under shoulder, also in line with those hips. Be slumpy in the shoulder, and then press the floor away. Take that top hand, place it on the bottom side. Without without doing too much here, pull the ribs away from the floor, and then keep pulling so much those hips lift. Take a look down. Are your hips forward? Your knees stacked? Your shoulders stacked? Lifting away from the floor from that bottom side. Keep breathing. Find that stability. Hold for 3, 2, and then again, the hips find the floor, and then relax. Great. This time we'll actually use our hinge up. So let's flip over, tuck the toes, tailbone long, lifting the knees, pushing the hips back, walking the hands back into our position, and then press to tall. Whew. All right, squat number 4 here. We started, so we had our second position, which is just in our cylinder. Now we're gonna step out of our cylinder a little bit wider in our Shiko squat here. So we'll pull the floor together and we'll pull so much we drop into that low squat. From here, we're gonna press and find our single leg balance. Press, hold. Woo. Standing leg, super straight. Get that stack just like we practiced earlier. Leg to the side, then point. Toe ball heel lands center. Press, find that balance. Hips forward, leg nice and straight. Then point, toe ball heel center. 3 more times each side. Really try to stick that landing, grip the foot to the floor. Straight knee as you land. and hold. For now, those hips are level, pointing the leg out, toe ball, heel land. Stick it, hold. Maybe ride up that leg with the foot and land and hold. Hips forward, legs straight. One more time each side here. Allow yourself to break a little bit of rules as you go and reach, but keep the bottom leg straight no matter what. And land. Last one. Find the balance. Reach out of it. Land center. Press to tall. Whew. Working. One more core activity here. We're going to get to our regular plank. Let's hinge ourselves down this time. Hip hinge. Then walk yourself out. High plank from the hands or from the elbows is also great. Let's lift our hips up in the air high. As we come down to our plank position, scoop, tucking under, squeezing the glutes, and now railroad track pull. Pull your right hand to your right hip and your left hand to your left hip at the same time. Pulling evenly, squeezing, bracing, but breathing underneath that core tension for 5, 4, 3, 2, Put your knees down for 1 second. Excellent. Let's do that one more time in our plank, but this time in a crossroad pattern. Come back up, lift the hips up high. Drop, scooping under. Now, right hand pulls to left hip, hold. Then left hand pulls to right hip, hold. Now do that on both sides at the same time, cross pattern. 3, 2, push forward and back, hips lift. Walk those hands back, either fold or hinge up. Don't do both at the same time, pick one. And to tall. Excellent. Whew. We're going to go from here. So we did a lot of those lateral or side to side squats. Now let's take our legs front to back in a lunge position. So with our feet underneath us, we're going to take a single leg and step it back up onto that back toe. From here, we're going to scoop under the back hip. As we descend to the floor, we're going to think the front leg is pulling in as that back hip is driving forward into this slow, controlled lunge. If you need to place a hand on the leg, please feel free. Soft landing. Whew. Now that we're here, let's do our forces check. We're pressing that back hip forward. We're pulling that front leg in. So we should have this sort of scissor tension isometric pull for 3, 2. Now keep the tension, but change directions. So you're going to push your back foot back and your front foot forward so much, you might actually press yourself back up to tall. Let's try that one more time. Pull to center as you descend into that lunge. Okay, now as we're down here, try to stay stacked. Shoulders over top of hips. Pushing forward and back so much that you hover and you press through to tall. Excellent. Shake it out. Remember to switch legs. Other leg steps back. We're in our tall position. Shoulders over top of hips. Feel that front leg pull in as the back hip pushes forward. Staying stacked as we land softly on the floor. Now, keep that tension pulling in. Front leg fully pulling back, back hip pressing forward. For 3, 2. Now change it. Pushing down and back, down and forward. And come up. One last time. Pull that tension together as you slowly descend. Nice soft landing. And one more time. If you can't get up out of this smoothly, that's okay. Just practice. Imagine pushing forward and back and just imagine standing up. And if you can actually stand up, do so. Great. You have to imagine it before you can do it. All right. Let's get 2 sets of push-ups in today. This is set number 1. If you're not into push-ups, go back to a bear hold, a side plank, or a regular plank and hold those. Well, we perform anywhere from 3 to 5 push-ups. I'm going to hinge myself back out again. Hip hinge. Walking out to that push-up position this time. But engage your core, squeeze your glutes just as you did in your plank. Here we go. 3 to 5 push-ups, pulling yourself down and pressing away. Keeping those shoulder blades relatively stable and stationary as the lats and the chest do the work here. Then lift up Walk yourself back, standing up either your hinge or your fold. Whew. And to tall. I want to practice those lunges one more time with a little added bonus once we're on the floor. So pick a single leg, step back. We'll control that down. Front leg pulling in, back hip coming back. Nice soft landing. Let's stay here for a second, but heel toe the front leg open to the side. So my safe side where my knee is in line with my foot, it could be anywhere between 1 and 3 o'clock or 11 and 9 o'clock on the other side. Touch that leg that's out to the side and then take that arm and put it across your chest. From here, our head will rotate over that side leg and then our shoulders will rotate. Head will come back to center, shoulders back to center. Adding on. Head goes first, shoulders next. Now use your hinge, pushing your hips towards the back wall and have your hand find the floor. Now stack your shoulders over top of that hand on the floor. Keep that knee to the side as your head rotates to look at the hand on the floor. And then the shoulders square up. And then our head rotates open and our shoulders rotate open. One more time. Head rotates to look at hand on the floor. Then shoulders rotate closed. And then head rotates open. Shoulders stack. Push the floor away, extending the hips. Head to center. Shoulders to center. Heel toe to center. And now get the forces back. So pushing down and forward, down and back to that hover and through. Shake. Other side, last move for today. Step back lunge. Control it down. Soft landing. Good. Heel toe that leg open to the side. Remember here it's between that 11 and 9 or 1 and 3 position. Tap that leg. Put that arm across your chest. Head is going to rotate over to that leg, and then shoulders will follow. Head back to center, shoulders back to center. Repeat. Head to side, shoulders. Now use that hip hinge. Hand finds the floor, stacking over top. Our head is going to look to the hand on the floor, and then our shoulders will close up. Our head will rotate open. Shoulders press and open. One more time. Knee stays to the side as the head looks at the hand on the floor. And the shoulders rotate closed. And then the head rotates open. And the shoulders rotate open. This time we press the floor away. We rotate our head back to center. Our shoulders back to center. Heel toe that foot. And now one last lunge up. Pushing forward and back. Use both legs on your lunges to stand up tall. Shake it off. One more set of push-ups here. 3, 5, 1, 2. Whatever you got, whether it's from the knees, from the toes, or holding that plank position. Here we go. Last time to the floor. I'm going to forward fold, either hinging or folding. Roll yourself down. Walk yourself out to the push-up position and get that high tension in the core and the glutes right away. So squeeze. Then pulling yourself down, pressing away. Repeat for your safe number, a number you end on feeling strong, but being able to do more. Once you're up on that last one, lift the hips, walk the hands back, up through the fold or the hinge, all the way to tall. Shake it out. Now what would be an R&R class without a little hip bar to finish up? Oh, look, I get to use my bar today. At your bar, your countertop, or your chair, let's finish with a quick circle each way. Standing tall, hips to the bowl, punch. Don't let your punch spill as you point a leg to the front. Then rotate that inseam up, send the leg to the side, keeping the hips underneath you. Once the leg's at this side, rotate it in. Continue drawing the circle all the way around the back. Flex over the foot and grow tall underneath. Now to the back for one, reach long. Rotate the leg open in the socket. Knee comes to the side, leg comes to the side. Continue drawing the circle to the front and pull under to tall. Shake it out. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And then we'll say goodbye. Okay, with your balance aid, other leg, bowl a punch, point, externally rotate, leg goes to the side, hips press forward. Then allow the leg to turn in, continue around the back. We'll flex over the foot and underneath. Now to the back, reach long. I like to keep my foot flexed here as I open around the corner. And then I'll start pointing it out, continuing to the front, pulling under, and growing tall. Whew, I hope you feel a little bit worked, but also a little bit recharged after that practice. Thanks for joining me today. My name's Lauren. This is Bars and Bells. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and check out our membership at www.barsandbells.com/membership. This weekend we are away at the ballet. So it'll be some pre-recorded activities on Sunday morning. Oh, we're actually here tomorrow morning. So I'll see you then for our play class on Saturday mornings. Thanks for joining. Take care, stay strong, and we'll train soon. Goodbye.